have some super awesome news. Wow. As I said earlier, I wanted to share this great news, and I'm sharing it with you first. And then I'm going to share it. I just got home, so then I'm going to share it with the rest of the church here, and that's once I'm out of here. Whew, this has been a really hard year for me. My dad died a few months ago, and he had cancer, and he lives down in California, and I live up in Washington. And so I flew down there, and he was gravely ill in the hospital, in the ICU, suffering horribly, for a month, maybe more than a month was he in there. I don't even remember anymore. It was just so long, and it was just so horrible. And of course, I prayed and prayed and prayed. God, please save my father. And he did, but not in the way. Well, I was asking it in this way too. I was asking it in two ways because he wasn't a Christian. First and foremost, I was asking, save my father, save his soul, save him. And then in the second way, I was asking, save my father. Don't let him die. I'm not done with him yet. I still need him. And ultimately, the result was my father was saved. Through this horrific ordeal, he came to believe. He always had this rational brain that couldn't get past what he could see, touch, feel, measure. And he grew up in a Christian family. My mother's been a Christian most of her life, and so was my atheist dad and my mother Christian. And through this horrific experience, he came to know Jesus, and it's the most wonderful, amazing, and the answered prayer, all of the rest of it is inconsequential compared to this incredible answered prayer that he gave us. And he gave us so many other blessings throughout that experience. He really did. It changed us as a family. So often families will go through this and they'll fight and you know, because things aren't going well. We tend to be not our best selves when things are hard. But as a family, as a church, we just leaned on God and prayed so much. And in doing so, he blessed us in ways that we're like a whole new family unit. Even though he's not with us here right now, we're closer and better to one another than we've ever been before. And so we've been so blessed. But the day of his funeral, that very night, my husband, who had flown down, gets a phone call. And in this phone call, we learned that his father, who was supposed to be having this surgery, that they expected a hernia surgery. So his father's having this hernia surgery today. And that very day, his mother falls and breaks her hip. And then they do the surgery, and he comes home and he can't go to the bathroom at all, zero. And he ended up in the emergency room because he could no longer go to the bathroom. So they put a catheter in him, sent him home, said maybe it just takes a few days, took it out, still can't go to the bathroom. So then they start doing all these tests, and they say he has cancer. And so I just lost my father to cancer in a really, really hard, brutal, excruciating way. And now, before the dust settles from the funeral for my father, I find this out. Cancer for my dad, other dad, broken hip for my mom. And so my husband, he the very next morning flew to go help them. I had to stay to help my mom. And so I just about lost it. I don't understand. How can I do this? I can't do this. It's maybe later, but I have already spent all of I have on this experience with my father, and I don't understand how you expect me to do this. How am I supposed to help him through this cancer? How am I supposed to help him, his father, and my husband through his death, right? I don't understand how I'm supposed to do this. So this was a few months ago. They say, okay, we're going to go ahead and take the cancer out of his prostate. And it was scheduled for a couple weeks ago. And during the time, they do some other tests. And they do a PET scan to see how bad the cancer is. And that PET scan comes back that has spread. And there is so much cancer in him, to the point where the doctor wasn't sure if he should even do the surgery. So he consulted with other doctors. Some doctors said yes to the surgery. Other doctors said, no, don't do the surgery because it's just going to cause it to spread, like explode. And ultimately, their doctor said, it's up to you. These are the options, the advice, this is why. And they chose to do the surgery. And so I was just over there at my husband's families, to help him through the cancer and the surgery and this and that. No cancer at all. At all. No cancer in his lymph nodes. They took out like 13, 14 lymph nodes. No cancer. No cancer in his prostate. No cancer. Some benign tumor on his prostate that was pressing on something, making it so he couldn't go to the bathroom. But all the other cancer that was confirmed via blood tests, that was confirmed via the PET scan, no, zero cancer. Remove that little tumor that wasn't cancer, and a little bit of physical therapy, teach him to go back to the bathroom again, and he is well. And wow, that God, Ethan, sometimes he'll do things like this. Unbelievable. Like, seriously, I don't know how to describe this. We talk about, sometimes people say, oh, that miracles are for then. Miracles don't happen anymore. They happen. They just happened. Wow. And then maybe it doesn't look like you want, maybe that miracle, my father did die. But that doesn't mean he's left you. That doesn't mean he doesn't care about you. That just means we live in a world where death is inevitable, right? Our physical bodies, death is inevitable. Our beings, ourselves, is eternal in Christ, right? But our human bodies in the world we live in, they have to die. And so whether it be then or later, my father had to die. I have to die. You have to die. Barring, of course, if we live during the time when Christ returns. But even when he didn't answer that in the way that I was hoping for, my father died. But he answered the most important one in the way I was hoping and praying for. My father's soul is saved. And so I just want to encourage you, no matter how horrible and hard, whatever it is you're going through, God won't give you more than you can handle. I know you've heard this before, and it can sound like it almost sounds, maybe some people find it offensive if you say it, because they're like, you don't get it. This is beyond horrible. This is already more than I can handle. But you're doing it. It might not be going pretty, but you're doing it, right? But when you get in a situation like, I was like, God, seriously, you know me, you know my heart, and I can't handle this. I can't go through this again. And sure enough, bam, I don't have to go through this again. Not right now. And God is a wonderful, loving, and powerful God, and He will get you through whatever it is. It might not come out the way you hope, but if you allow Him, even when it's different, He will bless your lives in the most wonderful ways, and He will get you through the price that we pay for living in this world and all that hardship. So